So, this is our introduction to cybersecurity or information security. So, what is cybersecurity? It's the practice of protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks. Now, think of it as as if you're locking your front door, then putting up security cameras and hiding your valuables. Except we're doing all of this on a digital asset. And the scale here is huge. Its scope goes all the way from protecting the smartphone in your pocket to securing a country's entire electrical grid or national defense infrastructure. Now, people often use a few terms interchangeably, okay, but there are distinct differences that we should all know. For cybersecurity, this focuses or it focuses specifically on defending against digital threats like hackers, malware, or phishing attacks. While IT security, it's a bit broader. Okay, it covers protecting all technology assets, including physical server rooms, hardware maintenance, and overall infrastructure. While information security, it's the big umbrella wherein it covers both digital and physical data. Okay. Example, shredding of paper records containing sensitive customer details. Now, that's an information security. Okay. So, what are the objectives? So, why do we put so much effort into this cybersecurity or into this? What are their or what are the core goals or what are the objectives? Number one, protecting data and systems from breaches. We keep unauthorized eyes out of places they should not be. Okay. Then preventing unauthorized access or tampering, making sure no one sneaks into your system to alter bank balances or change grades in a university database. We also want to ensure system availability and reliability. Now, if a service goes down when you need it, security has failed. Okay, think about your online banking that is crashing right when your rent is due, your bill is due. Okay, and that is not fun. Okay, that is not uh, that is a violation of availability, okay, and reliability. Okay. Now, supporting compliance, staying compliant with legal regulations like HIPAA or for patient medical privacy or PCI DSS for safe credit card processing. Now, let's be honest. Why does this matter to you? Okay? Why cybersecurity matters? We now live in a world that is or with a massive online dependencies or dependence, maybe across our personal life, businesses, and the entire government itself. Now, when a breach happens, the consequences are real and we can say that's painful. Okay? Now, we have privacy violations. Imagine a hospital getting breached. Okay, then suddenly private medical records are exposed. You also have your financial loss. A bank, a bank outage or unauthorized wire transfers can freeze billion of dollars in seconds. Okay. Now, ultimately, cybersecurity is not just about stopping bad guys. Okay. It's about building trust. So our society or a organization or the entire society itself can run smoothly. Now, cybersecurity didn't happen overnight. Okay, it's been a decades-long game of we can say cat and mouse. Okay, we're in 1970s. It all started with a creeper virus, the very first digital threat. It wasn't even malicious. Then it just displayed a message on screen saying, "I'm the creeper. Catch me if you can." Okay. You also have your 1980s. Threats escalated into actual disruptive malware, while like the famous Morris worm, okay, which accidentally slowed down a huge chunk of the early internet. Then from 1990s to 2000s, as the web exploded, we saw the rise of phishing emails, wherein we try to trick users, DDoS attacks, wherein we take down major websites by overwhelming them with a fake traffic. Then you have now 2010 up to the present. Okay, today we face state-sponsored targeted attacks. Okay, state-sponsored targeted attacks, wherein the entire nations sponsor stealthy cyber operations. Okay? Then defense progresses on the bright side. Okay? Our defenses evolve too. Okay? Wherein we move from basic antivirus software to now advanced tools wherein it integrates or it has an AI driven detection systems. Now, okay, or finally or let's check or let's look at what we're really fighting against today. Okay, the common threats include malware. Okay, these are the software like ransomware, which holds file okay in hostage for a certain money. Okay, and as well as viruses. Okay, we have phishing and social engineering, trickery or tricking aimed at human psychology, wherein we like getting someone to click a fake link. Okay. Then you also have your emerging threats, the advanced persistent threats. These are nation state attackers silently hanging around in a network for months. You also have insider threats, employees accidentally or even intentionally leaking sensitive company data. Now, today's biggest trend includes ransomware, wherein we hit critical sectors or where critical sectors are being hit like healthcare and schools, and attackers targeting security misconfiguration in a cloud platform. Now, let's check the categories of security. First, we have the network security. Now, this protects data as it moves between devices across networks using tools like firewalls, encryption, and intrusion prevention systems. Now, imagine sending a secret letter. Okay, a network security ensures no one intercepts or reads it amid or in the middle of transit. Okay. Next up is the endpoint security, wherein this focuses on securing the end devices. Okay. Like our personal laptop, smartphones, or desktop computer. If an attacker can breach the network, they'll try infecting your phone directly. Okay. Now, then there's application security, wherein it which makes sure software applications are built safely. It protects apps like or from exploits like the SQL injection, okay, where hackers trick a database into giving up a private info or buffer overload or sorry buffer overflow. Okay, then finally we have your cloud security. Okay, now as a as businesses move to AWS or Google Cloud, now this deals with um, somewhat securing our cloud environments. Now, this cloud security relies heavily on a shared responsibility model, okay, which or meaning, okay, the cloud provider secures the infrastructure, but you still have to secure your own data. Continuing to our categories, we have your data security, wherein this protects sensitive information. Okay, okay. Now, next, mobile security. Okay, it addresses threats specific to smartphones and tablets, like malicious apps or risky public Wi-Fi connections. Then you have your physical security. Okay, don't forget that this is a real word. Okay, that we are not only on the cyberspaces. Okay, this involves restricting physical access to sensitive hardware and server rooms. Okay, the strongest password in the world won't really help. Okay, having an MFA or having the best encryption, okay, that won't really help if someone can just walk and steal the physical hard drives or physical data in our server rooms or offices. Okay, so physical security still matters or is part of the category of security. Then identity and access management. This manages user identities and access rights. This will ensure that only the right people get access to the right resources. Now, let's talk about the bedrock concept of all cybersecurity or information security, the CIA triad. Okay. Uh, in cybersecurity, CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, every single security control that we implement tries to protect one or more of these three pillars. Confidentiality. This will ensure information is accessible only to authorized individuals. Integrity, meaning data remains accurate, trustworthy, and completely unaltered. Availability. This will ensure systems and data are online and accessible whenever you needed them. Okay. Next, um, let's check confidentiality. Okay, let's discuss confidentiality. It's all about privacy and keeping secret data away from unauthorized accesses or even eyes. Okay, an example of this would be encrypting sensitive files. If a hacker sneaks into a database and steals encrypted medical records, all they would see is gibberish. Okay, they can't read or understand the content without a certain key. Now, so how do we enforce confidentiality? Encryption. Okay, we convert plain text data into an unreadable format that can't be decoded without the secret decryption key. Access controls. We restrict user access based on roles and permissions. Data classification, labels or we labels data by sensitivity like public, internal, or strictly confidential. So we would know how much protection will be applied or needs to be applied. Next is integrity. Okay, this ensures data stays accurate and reliable by protecting it from unauthorized modification or tampering. Now, think about your account balance. Okay, confidentiality keeps from other people uh, from seeing your balance. Okay, we if we talk about confidentiality, we keep other people from seeing your balance. Okay, but integrity, make sure that a hacker can add a zero or worse, subtract a zero from your total balance or total account. Okay. Now we maintain this by implementing mechanisms like checksums or digital signatures. Okay, hashing as well. Okay, wherein we takes a piece of data and runs it through an algorithm to generate a unique fixed value. Okay, digital signatures, we verify the sender's identity and confirms the message wasn't altered in or during transit. The third pillar will be availability. Okay, these systems and information are ensured, okay, that they are fully operational and accessible when needed. Now, think of it as a database could be 100% encrypted and completely untampered with. Okay, but if the server crashes and no one can be reached, okay, then it's useless. Okay, we prevent this by setting up redundant systems and backups so downtime is minimized during hardware failures. Now, to keep systems available, okay, or available around the clock, okay, 24/7, we rely on three main mechanisms. Okay, redundancy, wherein having duplicate hardware or backup systems standing by, wherein if server A fails, then server B instantly takes over without anyone noticing it. Backup. Okay, we create regular secure copies of critical data so we can restore everything if disaster strikes. DDoS protection shields online services from distributed denial of services or service attacks. Now, uh, key roles in cybersecurity. Okay, because we now that we know how really cybersecurity works, let's check at who actually makes it happen. Right. First up is our CISO or the Chief Information Security Officer. Think of your CISO as the captain of the ship. Okay. They set the overall security vision, develop policies, manage teams, and they report straight to the executive leaderships. The security analysts are the frontline detectives. Okay, they monitor networks for signs of intrusion using security information and event management tools. Now, when an alert pops up, okay, they investigate, they respond to incidents, and then draft a certain reports or create reports. Then we have security engineers and architects. Engineers build and implement the defenses, okay? Like setting up of firewalls and running vulnerability scans. While, or on the other hand, architects define the long-term security infrastructure, meaning they are the master planners. They are the one who design the long-term security infrastructure just to ensure everything stays uh, on a solid rock. Okay. We have also penetration testers, or often called ethical hackers. These are being paid to legally hack into systems using tools like Nmap or Metasploit. Okay. Then there are incident responders and SOC analysts. They are the digital firefighters who handle live or real-time threats. Okay, they perform digital forensics. Then you have your risk and compliance officers. They make sure that the company follows international laws, and as well as standards like the ISO 27001 or GDPR. And finally, we have your malware analyst or the forensic experts. They reverse engineer actual computer viruses to figure out how they work, recover lost data, and even assist law enforcement in legal cases. So, what does it take to succeed in one of those roles? Okay, professional, professional need, or in technical skills, or in terms of in terms of technical skills, you need strong fundamentals in networking, cryptography, and system administration. Okay, as well as analytical thinking. You need to be a problem solver who can interpret complex system logs. Okay, you can assess threats on the fly and uh, can build clever solutions. Okay, then you have communications. Security is not or it's not done in vacuum. You have to explain technical risk clearly to a non-technical teammates or executives. Okay? Ethics and law, understanding digital rights, privacy laws, and where the legal boundaries lies is a non-negotiable thing. Now, speaking of ethics, ethics are absolute core values in cybersecurity. Okay? Because security professionals hold the keys to the so-called kingdom. Okay, major governing bodies establish strict codes of conduct. Now, key organizations that set these ethical standards would include the International Information System Security Certification Consortium, the Information Systems Audit and Control Association, and the EC Council. First, we have the International Information Systems Security Certification Consortium. It's a non-profit organization that um, specializes in training and certifying cybersecurity pros globally. It's most famous for creating the CISSP certification, which is widely considered the gold standard in security leadership. Now, why is ISC2 important? Because they set the global benchmark for professional cybersecurity certifications. They actively promotes ethical behavior, professionalism, and uh, lifelong continuous learning, okay, or continuous learning. Then it provides valuable tools, research, and community support to help professional grow and defend their organizations later on. Now, here's a snapshot of the certification path offers depending on your career goals later on. Okay? If you're starting out, you may want to check the certified in cybersecurity for an entry level foundations. Then, as you work hands on in operations, you may want to look into SSCP, okay, a system secured certified practitioner. If you will be interested in cloud defense or software, then they offer the CCSP or CCSLP. Okay. Now, what is ISACA or the Information Systems Audit and Control Association? This was founded in 1969 and based in Illinois, USA. The organization has a massive global presence spanning over 180 plus countries and 170 local chapters. Now, their key focus areas include information systems auditing, IT governance, risk management, and compliance. Now, so why does ISACA matter? Okay, it's a deeply respected across the high stakes industries like the finance, healthcare, and the government. It helps IT teams align their security tech directly with overall business goals and compliance needs. They also provides world-class governance frameworks like the COBIT, which companies rely on to secure their entire IT strategy safely. Now, so if you're interested in governance, audit, or management, ISACA offers several elite certifications. CISA is the top standard for information systems auditing and control. CISM, Certified Information Security Manager. Okay, the CRISC, or the Certified in Risk Information Systems Control. So, what is EC Council? Now, let's talk about the third major organization, okay, setting global security standards, which is the EC Council, founded in 2001 and headquartered in Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico. EC Council operates across 105 countries with a clear mission to create a cyber world, or safer cyber world. Sorry. Now, their main focus is heavily practical and technical. Okay, they have ethical hacking, incident response, digital forensics, penetration testing. Okay, so why is EC Council such a big name in the industry? Okay, their certifications are recognized by the government, okay, military organizations, and major enterprise across the world. They excel at building hands-on tactical skills, okay, teaching you know how attackers think and operate so you can defend against them. You have your real-world experiences. Okay, they provide interactive simulation environments using the iLabs and CyberQ. Now, here are our EC Council offers some of the most technical certifications in the world, as you can see in this table. Okay, so we will continue the ethical responsibilities of cybersecurity professionals in the part two of this recording. Thank you.